What's good? Welcome to the SiMPL podcast. I'm CJ.
I'm Jamie.
Today we'll be talking about stress versus pressure.
What's the difference? How it affects people? What's necessary and what isn't? What is more mindset than anything else? But first, rest in peace.
Oh, yep. Knew that was coming.
Had to put the dog down
Yeah.
on Friday.
I think she was in the last video, so RIP.
Anyway,
All right, so
moving on from there.
Yeah.
So,
Stress versus pressure.
how do you think they're different? How do you think they're alike?
Well, I'd say I'm sure you've heard of it's like U stress or something, like the positive stress. It's like EU stress.
No. Expand on that. I've never heard of that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb, but well, I am.
You know.
All right. Anyway, that's beside the point. So you have like your bad stress and then your good stress. I'd say the good stress would be like anything physically demanding. So obviously to an extent. So like working out, exercise, stuff like that. Um, Challenging yourself at your job or in school. Learning new things. It can be demanding, but it's obviously good. And then you have your bad stress, which in my opinion would be like addiction. So like alcohol, nicotine, tobacco use, stuff like that. Pressure goes along with the good stress. I'd say, what do you think about that?
That's an interesting take. I've always thought of them as two sides of the same coin. I mean, effectively, they're both external. Yes, you can put internal pressure or stress on yourself just based on your mindset or whatever. But generally speaking, if something is stressing you out, it's usually an external element, and same with stress, right? Or pressure. So the way I see it is that stress is more often than not an external force, whether it's from relationship or workload or social pressure by some by one factor or another, right? Like, okay, everybody your age right now to one degree or another is out there just abusing their bodies with substances. There is a certain amount of social, it's called like peer pressure, but in this case, it's effectively stress, depending on who you are, about how it affects you, right? You want to fit in and all that other stuff. The way I see it is how you compartmentalize it, right? You just talked about, physical stress, right? So if you're in the gym, that's that's a good stress, right? You're getting stronger. I would compartmentalize that as it's like physical pressure, because you are the one imposing it on yourself, right? To a positive goal. So the way I usually see it is if one thing is inherently stressful or pressure on me, is it a good or a bad, process and outcome?
So are you saying you're putting pressure on yourself, whereas stress is external?
Well, I think they're both external more often than not, depending on your mental state, honestly. Because I know a lot of people that get stressed out over stuff that objectively is not actually worrisome. They just have like an internal thing that they're battling with, whether it's like, performance anxiety or whatever. My thing is like, okay, right now, pressure's on, right? We've each got 3 different directions, respectively, that we are going in. So a lot of people would see that as stressful, except we each want to be going in those 3 different directions. So and they each have a positive outcome, right? Yeah, we don't wake up at 4:30 to work out because someone's making us. That would be stress. This is just pressure. Every day at 4:30, like the discipline kicks in. And it's like, no, this is pressure. I mean, how often do you just want to go back to sleep when your alarm goes off? It's every single time my alarm goes off. Rough. But why am I doing it? Oh, so that way I can feel better mentally and physically. So I do it. So it's not stressful for me, but it is a certain amount of pressure because I'm holding myself accountable to it. Versus stress is I have all these things going on and then dog dies or oh, can you come see my niece's recital? Like, okay. And that is that's a shitty example because it's a perfectly good thing to do to show support and all that. But people can throw rocks in, right? Okay, so for my main line of bread and butter, right, is in finance. Went through a huge change over the summer. It was massive, and it was very, very high pressure. You got 50 clients that I had to deal with and all this other stuff that goes along with it with no extra help. It was a lot of pressure. However, it was a good outcome. So it didn't really bother me that much. Yeah, I've been working a ton more, but it's for a good thing. If for whatever reason, if it was a more rank and file thing, like sometimes whatever field you're working in, you just get this stuff dumped on you. And what is the net positivity for you? It's marginal, if anything. Usually, it's that is your job. If you don't do it, then you get canned. That is stress.
So you're saying stress is bad?
More often than not, stress is bad. Pressure and stress, the way I see them, are very, very similar. It's just a matter of how you receive them. So
I just don't think pressure is. I just don't think it's bad. I don't.
no, pressure's not. I like pressure. Pressure is good. That lets
Yeah.
me, sit there,
Oh,
see what.
I thought you meant like it was similar in the way that it can be like bad.
No, I mean, again, it's a matter of what's the outlook and what's the outcome, right? It's that is usually 9 times out of 10 the deciding factor for me for what is stress versus what is pressure. And I really didn't know that this was going to be this much of a debate. This is interesting.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I see pressure. So I definitely see pressure as a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can come from an internal aspect or external. Like you said, demanding deadlines. Yes, it can be stressful, but that is a type of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas from the internal, because that's external, and from the internal, you can be putting pressure on yourself to meet certain deadlines. I think either way, though, pressure, like you said, it's good because it's helping you uh, get to something faster or more. It's going to force you to get to something faster or more efficiently, and to think on your feet. And then stress, kind of, I split it up in two ways. Like I said, like good stress and bad stress, because I wouldn't really consider, um, like for example, weightlifting that I call good stress as pressure, because no one's really. I'm not like it's not like pressure. I'm not like pressuring myself or someone's pressuring me to weightlift.
You absolutely pressure yourself
No,
in
no,
that.
no.
I see it every single day. Hey, my shoulder's bad. Get the 125s out. Like this is not
No, but
okay.
that's
But
that.
also physically, it's 100% pressure. Put
Yeah,
400 pounds on a barbell and tell me you're not being pressured into the
but
concrete.
we're not talking about we're not talking about like
No, I agree. I know.
physical.
I'm just breaking your balls. But I mean,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I'd call it pressure just for, if nothing else, just to say that it physically is. But to
yeah,
your point, no, it is not I wouldn't say that anyone else is pressuring you to do the things you do in the gym. You're pressuring you though.
yeah, yeah. I guess that's true. I pressure myself with a lot of stuff
Yeah.
because I want to be the best in every area. But I think you need, well, you most certainly, in my opinion, need pressure and stress. Um, you got the good stress, and then you're pressuring yourself, like stuff like that. Um, Again, bad stress is you got to eliminate that as much as you can because that can affect you in like every way.
Well, here's a question for you.
Let's hear it.
How, like, the frequency of them, what would you say is a good balance, right? Because people that are constantly under stress, whether it's justified, whether it's self-imposed or not, if they're constantly under it, I mean that has massive implications to your mental and physical well-being, and it's well documented. It's not even my opinion on here. Like if you're constantly under stress, people they get like panic attacks, or they gain a lot of weight, or they can't sleep, or what have you. But that being said, I think that being under a way out of your comfort level amount of pressure and or stress is good for you, because you learn what your limits are and what is like it. So I think, and again, quantifying it is how many days per week do you think this is healthy to be under a tremendous amount of stress? I'm not trying to dial in on that, but I think to be healthy, to understand yourself better. I think at some point, typically when there's a lot of skin in the game, when there's a lot of chips on the table, I think it's actually good for you long term to have to experience this by one degree or another.
Like the bad stress?
Oh yeah, I mean, like look, it's not
Or so are you saying?
enjoyable.
So are you saying what is a good balance?
I mean, like how and this is where it gets kind of just up for discussion. Like, I don't think it's good for anybody to be under a constant. That's terrible. But I also don't think it's good to never experience it. I mean, how many people like from your hometown have never been under either, and what are they doing now? You know,
Jack shit.
right?
Because, yeah.
It's
I
just
mean,
interesting. I mean, like, I don't know. What would you say would be? And it doesn't have to be like, oh, at least one day a month. It's hard to quantify it, obviously, but like, do you think a
yeah.
reasonably frequent, like, once every, like, just like a big event, a big something every now and again, is that good or bad,
Yeah.
and why?
Um, yeah. So I'd say it's good. But again, though, I don't classify it as like bad, necessarily bad stress. It'd be more of, or maybe it feels bad in the moment, but it's actually beneficial for you.
Yeah,
So like,
like
so I
eating
guess,
Brussels
so like,
sprouts.
yeah. So like what you're saying. So I'd say, you should, I'd say challenging yourself is a type of stress. I think
Mm.
that's the most important stress in my opinion. So like what you're saying,
I'd call it pressure.
um,
Would you call it stress?
I'd call it stress, but you could call it pressure. I pressured myself to do it. I challenged myself to do it, but it still stressed me out. So it was still a stress, and you could say it's a bad stress because it's anxiety and stuff like that, um, and it feels like a bad stress. But once you do stuff like that, then you slowly progress
Hmm.
and do better. So I think
I'd say.
it's hard to
Hmm.
say whether it's a good or bad stress, but I think you should be stressing yourself frequently, challenging yourself, putting
But
that.
but stress via pressure, not stress for the sake of stress.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't believe in stress just for the sake of it, um, because it's all inherently bad. Like what benefit do you get from that bad stress of?
I don't know.
Yeah,
But lots of people apparently deal with it. I don't.
well, yes, I see it more as like, honestly, into your mindset about it is actually really important because you could go through the same thing, but if you view it negative versus someone views it as positive and something they could overcome and use to their advantage,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to have different effects.
Yeah.
So, like for example, when I trained MMA, you could take me for example, who wanted to put that pressure on myself and that stress, but in a positive way. Because when you start stuff like that, like when you get punched in the face or you're wrestling someone and you just get your ass kicked, like it sucks. It's bad stress because your body's going through that. But I had the mindset of, okay, this is good for me because I'm going to push through this and get better. And now I'm going to have better outcomes in the future of, oh, I can defend myself. I'm more confident, et cetera. Versus someone else goes into that, because either they're forced to because of pressure, like their parents,
Mm-hmm.
or they're just like, oh, fuck it, I'll try this. And they go into it, but with like a negative mindset to where they get their ass kicked in the first day because, that's just how it works. And then or they get injured or something and they just view it as negative and they quit.
So that leads me into my next question here. It's regarding mindset, and I'm just going to lead with this just over the weekend. So, went and got my scuba diving certification because, well, we're going to be going scuba diving later this year, and I wanted to get it done because why not? Every now and again, I get reminded in a very social circumstance that I'm a bit different than the usual. You think it would happen all the time. It doesn't, but every now and again. So you're going 30 feet underwater or what have you, and you're hooked up to an oxygen tank, and everybody there was wildly nervous, and they felt very stressed out by it because, like, oh, what if something goes wrong, or what if I don't do well, or what if I don't pass? What That didn't actually register with me, and it's not because I'm an experienced scuba diver. I'm not at all. It's just that type of stuff doesn't hit me. Now that's an advantage for me. That's obviously led to the type of life that I've lived. I'm like, just shoot from the hip and I'll probably be okay. And because I know that, I'm not really terribly worried about all this other stuff. Most people are just quite simply not wired that way, which I don't get because, well, that's not me. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't you take things as they come and just adjust. But the reality is most people aren't like that. And so then how do they mitigate this stuff, right? Now I understand in theory, it's like, well, yes, if something goes wrong, you could technically drown. I get that. But there are so many other factors involved that would prohibit that it doesn't really register it as any sort of likelihood. So I ignore it. Now, like I said, that potential outcome weighed so heavily on so many people. And again, I don't get it. So I'm like, what? I'm just going to go in the water and cross my fingers and I'll be fine. And yeah, I'm swimming underwater. That's not a huge ask for me, but other people take it way differently. So, and I think you're more or less cut from the same cloth here. So, how do just your normal, hey, I'm a normal person, just a regular person. I work hard. I like good food. I get sleep, whatever. But these are the people that get affected by stress and pressure the most. And I don't know how they handle it. I don't get it. I've never been in those shoes. What is a good way to process stuff, and as far as you can digest, how would a normal person sit there and take insert pressure here? How do they funnel that into something productive so that way they can be successful and not be overburdened by it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it goes back to your main point of you in particular, like you're just used to that stress.
Insane.
Yeah, yeah, but it's because you've had so many experiences that were stressful, and you got through them, and it just kind of became the norm. Or you put yourself in spots that were stressful, and you got used to that. So I think for the average person, it's really about the practice of that. Like I think it goes back to the challenging yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're just the regular old person that um, you wake up, you go to your job, you come back, maybe you have a family, maybe you live by yourself, but you're kind of like in your own isolated spot. You don't really travel. You haven't had much experience in doing like crazy things or risky things or challenging things. You're going to be much more afraid, like you said, to go into a new situation. So like scuba diving, but it's because of your lifestyle leading up to that. So like if you live a lifestyle of constantly challenging yourself, that's why I think stress and pressure kind of, now that I'm talking about this, kind of like just merge, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like they both can mean the same thing. So I honestly, kind of categorize them pretty similarly. And the main point, again, being challenging yourself. So I think you can challenge yourself through putting that pressure on, putting yourself in stressful situations. I'm not saying you got to go out and like
pick a fight with a stranger at a bar.
Pick a fight with a dude, or just like
rob a bank,
walk in front of a car, and then move out the fucking way at the last second. Like you don't have to do that stuff, but put yourself in small, stressful situations that could be, are good stress situations, and slowly work your way up. Like it's just like anything else. I think it's a skill or something you can practice, and that's something I've been learning because I was never, as a kid, I was super quiet, super shy, super anxious. I've always been like that, and it was up to me to change that. So it's like, but it didn't just happen. It's been a long journey. The person I am today is completely different than where I was as a teenager. So it's like
just 3 years ago. It's almost
it's
a stark difference.
Yeah, it's night and day. But it's because I decided, I was like, I want to be that person that, for example, in these situations, I can handle myself. Like if I were to just go scuba diving, it's like, all right, let's do it. Like I'm down. Let's have fun. Or just those situations. And so I think the average person, go out of your way to talk to new people. Go out of your way to push yourself in the gym. Go out of your way to pick up a new hobby, or if you really have this skill that you want to learn, or whether it's starting your own business, like just do it. Put one foot in front of the other. Go, put yourself in these small, stressful situations, and that's how you build up that resilience, and become like someone like you, to where it's just like, yeah,
man.
to where you can like
You're welcome.
You can just walk into any situation and like you said, shoot from the hip. Like I got this.
So would you say, if you can help it, obviously, then periodic, preferably self-imposed sets of stress and pressure, with the caveat being that these will hopefully be positive, then that will give you experience just in XYZ realm that will give you a much more updated and realistic perspective, which will then lessen the pressure of stress of future experiences, because this is, you know, now that this is not
Yeah, for sure.
going
So
to kill you.
again, I'll give you an example. So before I trained MMA, if I were to have gotten into a situation where there's like a potential altercation or something like that, I would just shy away from it because I'm like just scared. I just didn't know what to do. Whereas I trained MMA, got my ass kicked, but then I started kicking ass because like you learn, and I wanted to learn and get better. It's like now, if that were to be in my situation, that's why I'm so confident when I walk around, because I know I can handle myself.
Yeah.
Because I have that, I put myself through those small incremental stresses, and that built up that specific resistance to a scenario like that, and built up my skill.
I thought that was going in a different direction completely. I was like, you hear it, folks. Swing first. Let's go into the room, beat the shit out of whoever you find. No, that's good. Okay, interesting. I'll be honest. I don't know that I've ever thought about the two as being mutually exclusive or inclusive in this much depth before. I just sort of went with it. Never really reflected on it. Huh.
Yeah, I mean,
I learned something today.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, never too old to learn shit. What are you, like, 75?
According to the guy at Men's Warehouse.
Oh, yeah. You want to tell that story real quick?
Jesus. So he just started working out in Annapolis with my friends. This is what, 2 years ago? Not even a year ago.
No, not even. This is December. Or no. Yeah, this was a year ago.
This is a year ago. So I was like, look, you're going to be working down here. It's state capital. You're going to be involved with a lot of people. You're going to be in and out of all these, like, official buildings. You got to look good. No, you look good. I'm like, no, you have like a suit from prom. That sucks. I'm like, I'm going to get you a nice custom tailored suit. Then unfortunately he's built like some sort of simian creature, so it has to be custom anyway. I'm like, oh, sweet. This is going to hurt. Now, I am a regular here, as regular as you can be at a Men's Warehouse, right? I've met the guy a few times. When the house burned down, I had to go in there and replenish all my suits and dress clothes. He and I know one another. CJ's over there getting fitted for a suit, and this guy's like, how old is he? I was like, he's, whatever. I don't remember how.
I would have been
gives a shit?
19.
Yeah, 19. Yeah. So I was like, he's this old. Like, oh, okay. Now, I don't know if he thought it was my son or what. I have no idea. But anyway, like, we're just chit-chatting while he's getting all dressed up. And the guy working at the shop comes up to me usually I can tell when someone's breaking my balls. It's usually like a twitch of a grin or something. This guy looks straight at me. He's like, so how old are you? 58? And I mean, there's nothing. He is waiting on a up or down answer. Yeah. And I cracked a smile because I thought he was joking and just had a really bad timing or something. I was like, no, what? So I'm 38, and he was like, oh my God. I was like, you were serious? Are you gonna be kidding me right now? I was like, are you insane?
That's not breaking your balls. That's smashing your balls.
That is just like, dude, you're trying to hurt me? Is how people die. Yeah. You can't do that. I was like, 58? Good God. That's when I realized, I think, like, when you actually look me in the eyes, I must be either dead inside or damn near, because I was like, 58? Sweet Jesus. I don't have gray hair. I stand up straight. I think I look younger than my actual age. Apparently, I'm dead wrong. Apparently, I look almost double. I was like, fuck you. Are you kidding me right now? Jesus. And the guy was terrified. He's like, oh, shit, I just botched my commission. We get back in the car. I tell CJ that. He laughs for like 20 miles on the highway. I'm like, piece of shit. Killed me.
Oh, man, such a great story.
God.
Still joking about that
58 shit. Years old. So 50. Now, apparently, according to him, I'm nearing 60. So, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Hopefully Don't have to do another RIP next episode.
Had to put Jamie down.
Yeah.
He just wasn't aging well at all.
But all right. With that being said, stress versus pressure. I think we could just mix them up and call it one word. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it beneficial, for God's sake. When you have like tons of pressure, stress, and 9 times out of 10 it comes from people around you, and then you compound it on yourself. I mean, I see people every day just laboring under, a fake pressure. Like, yes, of course you're expected to do your job. Yes, you are expected to raise your children. Yes, you are expected to, do what you need to do, like the dishes or the laundry or what have you. But it's pretty important to, and I'm going to pitch, I was going to say the book. What the hell is it called? The Obstacle is the Way. It's a great book. It's very short. And, the author is writing, is like, look, no matter what comes your way in this world, it's highly likely that this is not going to kill you. That seems very dismissive, but at the same time, it's pretty sobering, realizing that whatever these issues are, right? You got some hard ass boss that is absolutely riding you for weird shit like TPS reports, or you pride yourself on eating the same slop every single day or what have you.
Hell yeah.
If you deviate a little bit, it's probably not going to kill you. That being said, that is very external. How it hits you, I'd say, is basically an internal filter, right? So try to keep things in perspective as whether or not this is really something you need to worry about. Now, of course, it's good to stay disciplined, right? Like, yeah, you don't just let the dishes go for a week on end. That's going to be gross. But, if you are otherwise burdened by a lot of other stuff, handle it, prioritize it like we talked about last time on the time management thing, figure out what needs to be done and when and how. And then just remember, before you have a panic attack, is this going to actually kill me or really negatively affect me? If the answer is no, then take it as it comes, knock it out, take breaks as needed. Stress and pressure are good. I think we've arrived at that in certain circumstances. But if you feel like you're constantly under the gun for something, I'm willing to bet a good amount of that is self-imposed. So again, introspection. Reflect on it a little bit. Sit there like, maybe is this more me than someone else? If the answer is yes, work on that. Again, that's a you issue. You got to sort yourself out however you need to. But realistically, especially in the U.S., folks, the amount of stress we feel is, can we just say it's mostly bullshit? I'm going to say it. I don't know if he wants to.
100% is mostly bullshit.
Yeah,
and I fall into this trap too. It's like, in reality, life could be so much worse. So all this shit that you think is bad, which, and maybe some is, but for the most part, it's like you probably don't have to worry about the basic necessities of living. So, just put it in perspective. Again, taking risks, challenging yourself. Don't be afraid to just go out and do it. Like this, I saw this one quote somewhere. I forget who it was, a celebrity, but they were like on their deathbed. They were like, one of their last words was like, everything I ever feared in life never happened. Mm-hmm. So it was like, it just kind of goes to show, like, back to where you were saying, the likelihood of this thing killing you or going bad.
Well, shit, everything I ever feared has happened, and I'm still here. I mean, it's like, dude, shit happens. Yeah. It probably won't kill you, though. Yeah. Sometimes it will. I mean, do not play chicken with a bus. Okay, don't do it.
There's limits to this. To this
but,
fearing.
You'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
So just take it as it comes. Try to improve. Structure it as you can, but otherwise, do your breathing exercises. That'll take care of a lot. Yeah. Work out, eat well, and you'll watch a lot of this evaporate straight up.
And if you're not okay and you die, you won't give a shit.
You will have no more problems. They're over.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, it's a win-win.
So keep it simple. Just die already.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well, keep it fucking simple. Peace.
See ya.